Broadcast.
Yes, sir.
All right, bet. Hey, oh, there he is. Hey, it was at the last second. Hey, what's up, everybody? Financial Friday, favorite day of the week. Uh, I'm back in California. I was in Utah for a couple days, but we back in action, making it happen. So as we start, two things before we get going for those of you who are first time listeners. First things first. Um, we are not responsible for your finances at the current moment. So if you decide to and do things based off what we tell you our opinions are, then you take full responsibility for that. Okay, don't go to the side and say Cam, Rico, and Glenn told me to do this or that. We will not take responsibility, of course, unless you want to share them profits. Then we can talk. Now, but no losses. I don't take losses. And so, the second thing, the way that we operate every week is that one of us will choose three articles to talk about based off the financial market, and what's going on in the world that we think is important for you all to digest, to know about, to think about. Okay. So before we start, gentlemen, what's up? I feel like I haven't talked to you guys like in forever.
We've been running this week, man.
It's been a week, man. I was in Rico's second stomping ground, Utah.
Oh, I love. Hey, you gotta love Utah, man. It's beautiful up there. I don't do the summertime in Utah though. I'm a wintertime guy, but it was looking beautiful. Kim gave us lots of pictures. It was looking good.
I'll be hiking and things. I almost died though. I didn't send you guys the video where I
See?
had to do Kung Fu Panda across some dirt.
It's funny. I've been to almost every state in the United States. I've never been to Utah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
Oh, we're
gotta.
gonna have to go out there because
I
I when
think you
when Rico
you'd
said
you'd
he
enjoy it, man.
yeah. What was the place you said you like going, Rico? The like where the mountains at?
Uh, so the mountains, yeah. So it's Park City.
Yeah, Park City. So the guy I was with when I said that, he's like, "Oh yeah," he's like, "I love that." He's like, "That's where we go for all the skiing and the lodges and the food and all that stuff out there." I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna come back for that." But anyways, we can talk about that later. As we start this week, was Glenn's week to pick articles. So we're excited about the ones he's got for you. Glenn, as I pull up the article, go ahead and tell him kind of where your mind was at as you chose this first one.
Yeah. So the first one was about TikTok, right? And I know it's TikTok has kind of been in the news, a few months ago as far as the potential ban in the United States. And there was an interview that kind of the CEO of TikTok was like, "Hey, I don't allow my kids to utilize TikTok, right?" And so one of the questions that was asked back then was about how American teens, there's certain things that are designed for our teens to just kind of watch, right? And so anyway,
Mhm.
this article I thought was pretty interesting, more so from a business aspect, from a marketing aspect, because this article talks about how there in South France there was an industry extravaganza, right? And so it showed uh, little concern of the actual ban. So basically, when it comes to individuals still utilizing TikTok or investing in TikTok as far as for ads and stuff from a
Mhm.
business aspect, it was like, hey, is this a concern of mine? Because I currently primarily use TikTok for ads, right?
Mhm.
And then so obviously it kind of broke that down a little bit. And I actually got a couple other pieces to kind of talk about before. But regarding this particular article, when it comes to, so you guys are both business, I've been in business for a long time. Um, Utilizing platforms like TikTok to run ads and different things like that, do you feel like it will have a significant impact on businesses across the state if TikTok does become banned in the states?
I mean, as it stands, I mean, even the article talks about it, which I thought was a funny comparison, right? Is it said TikTok has more revenue than like Twitter or
Yeah,
Snapchat. But what I think is funny is that those are not services that are used for ads in the first place. Now, if it would have said it's competing with Instagram or Facebook, I'd be like, okay, bet, like you have a leg to stand on. But like,
yeah,
you can't throw out the C teams and then and then expect it to hold weight. You feel me? Now, what I will say though is that without the ads, it is a giant as far as content is considered.
Right.
You know, a lot of people don't know it actually started out as an app called Musically. Funny enough, my goddaughter back in the day, she did a video with my daughter Ivy on that app. Like back when it was, I was like, "What's this Musically app? Like, what is this thing?"
Back
I
in the
didn't even realize till years later that they had changed it to TikTok. And so that being said, you know, it is progressively got, you know, I mean, that's once again, that's how me and G got pretty much reconnected. I was like, what's up with this TikTok video I keep seeing? And so um you know, I don't think they're really shook because at the end of the day, it's also like, let's just be real. It's lightweight, like idle threats, bro. Like there's so many other things that we could be concentrated on as far as what's good or bad for our kids. Like, don't get me started with cereal. And so you know, you worried about TikTok. Let's worry about the other somewhat like food pandemics and other things we have going on. And you know, something that we can control, parents can control. Just don't let your kids on TikTok. I removed YouTube and YouTube Kids off all my kids' devices. Y'all don't get to go on it. And so as parents, I feel like that more so just falls on our responsibility a lot of the times, right? And also teaching our kids.
For sure.
That's my opinion.
Yeah. I like that it's funny that you picked that out in the beginning of what you were talking about as far as the comparing yourself to the C team versus comparing it to the elites.
Like, oh, you'd have more than Twitter. High five, bro.
Rico, how about you, brother?
A service that basically, I mean, Elon's trying to revamp that. I think that he kind of, obviously he let somebody else take care of that now, so that's probably better. But yeah, no, finally. And so why are you comparing it to the C team? I'm with Cam. Like I'm like, okay, so Twitter, bro, who cares? We're talking about Facebook, we're talking about Instagram, actual services that utilize ads, and it's an integral part of their entire business structure. Now, let's be honest. The next generation, Generation Z, Alpha, and I think the next one after that is Omega, I believe, I think it's Omega after that. Well, isn't it? It's Z, Alpha, and Omega, right?
Yeah, Alpha, yeah.
I think that's okay. So with those generations, maybe you'll see, maybe this makes more sense, and maybe this is more detrimental to them because they've only grown up on or in the digital age. I want you guys to think about that. So with us, it's not as detrimental still because we still have barely some silent generation people. We still have plenty of baby boomers, right? Generation X, and then millennials are like the fourth generation of people, right? We're in our late 30s, early 40s. We're still young. And so we grew up in a world that was analog. And so we still understand what it's like not to have, if TikTok, if Instagram, Facebook, if all that crashed, we would just go back to living the way we did when we were teenagers. The same stuff, right? We remember how it was before social media, but they don't. And so I think it'll be more detrimental to them in those upcoming years. TikTok has been just a huge source of income. Everybody's starting to figure it out, right? You're taking away revenue, right? You're taking money away from people. It's idle threats. And I'm just like him. What you really should be focused on is these crooked politicians on both sides. You need to be focused on high fructose corn syrup, which is kills more people than freaking anyway.
Yeah.
That's what you need to be worried about, right? Let's more focus on that stuff and the changes we can make to better our environment, the changes we can make to better our educational system, because we're about 18th in the world when it comes to that, because we put finances above the actual education. And so I say, if anything, learn to utilize TikTok for your children in a manner that's suitable.
Right.
Put them on educational people on TikTok. There's great information, great like documentary type people that are out here doing it on their own.
Yep.
Point them toward that direction. Keep them away from the trash, right? Put some parental controls on the TikTok. Time out how much time they get on TikTok, right? Those are the type of things that I would say, but you're not going to prevent them. And I think to try to say that you're going to ban it, that's idiot. That's you're killing revenue sources, man. You're thinking like California now. California loves shooting itself in the foot,
Yeah.
right? Oh, just get out of
So
here,
does
Elon.
Florida,
We don't
apparently.
want you here. So does oh god.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, let's not go back there. He upsets me.
Hey, my next round of articles, I'm gonna find one so we can. No, I'm just kidding.
He upsets me. See, because he's not like Newsom. Newsom is like he's a respectable degenerate, right? So at least he sounds nice and he like pats you on the back and stuff. DeSantis just calls you names, slaps you in the face, and then digs in your pocket and takes the money out. That's what he does. So yeah, no, for sure.
It's the American way. Nice. All right, we'll move on.
So as we move on, one of the reasons, because obviously, all of us are fathers, and I think that normally we don't, I wouldn't have picked that TikTok article, but I think like being parents, and obviously it does affect, our kids' generation, and as far as business aspect, I thought it was pretty interesting just to kind of bring to the table, and I wanted to hear y'all thoughts on that.
For sure. I mean, my daughter, she goes on these things, but like I monitor what she's watching, and I've talked to her about those things, like what she, and honestly, she's watching like the how-to videos and the things like that. So she'll do stuff, and I'm like, "How'd you learn how to do that?" And she's like, "Oh, I looked it up, like, and saw a video on how to do it." And I'm like, "All right, cool. I can rock with that.
Yeah.
But don't bring no other trash up in here, though.
Sure, for sure.
I don't care about Cardi B."
So this next article, so the next article is based on Intel. So Intel is doing everything in its power to regain its former chip glory, right? So Intel has been around since like 1968, I believe, and so was one of the major big, when it comes to tech, they have a heavy name, right? They have a big foot in that industry, and so recently. We've been hearing and on social media platforms, in the news and different things like that, NVIDIA, right? AMD. I think NVIDIA, just to stock the last quarter, like correct me guys, but I believe it grew like 60%, like year to date or something like that. And same thing, AMD on
63%.
Yeah, on the rise. And so I thought this one was interesting because we spoke on NVIDIA, we spoke on AMD, and so with Intel. Bringing their team together to think about, okay, us being innovative, how can we compete in this industry? Because we can't just be we can't be considered the grandfathers in this business, right? We have to stay relevant, right? So I thought this was interesting because when you talk about the chip makers, right, the AMDs in the industry, Intel is finding a way to remain competitive in the industry, right? And so a couple of notes that I wrote down, they have changes to its PC chips. One of the other things that I thought was interesting in this article too was it talked about how some of the pieces are going to be kind of like interchangeable to where you can actually use it in different with other manufacturing pieces. So I thought that was smart. And so Intel is like, hey, we're putting all of our chips on the table right now, right? So that we can not only just remain relevant, but remain competitive because this is our industry. And so both of you guys being very tech savvy, what were your thoughts on this particular article in itself?
So I would say Rico, I'm sure, really appreciates the being able to use things on multiple things, especially after his microphone situation. So I think that's something more and more companies are realizing that, unfortunately, as much as they want. So like Apple, that's a big thing that Apple did, right? They made it so you could not use nothing else unless it was made exactly for that Apple product. And so, now there's like USB-C and things like that. Well, USB-C is used for Apple, Androids, and things like they realized that they were going to lose a little bit because of that. And so more and more companies are understanding that users want a little bit of flexibility, like, because there are so many products out there on the market nowadays, you're gonna have to evolve with the times and increase your usability, and it's not gonna ruin your market share. So them doing that is realistically, it's them trying to understand that, hey, we're just gonna have to be a little bit more, jack of all trades when it comes to the things that we're doing.
Yeah,
because there's a couple masters in the market now, and they're competing with them, and right now those other masters are beating them.
Man, I'm just going to be the person to come out and say it. Intel is never going to catch up.
No.
They'll never catch up.
Right. Never.
Yeah, you know me. I'm just gonna cut straight to it. I think that it is awesome that they're looking to evolve and they're looking to maybe bring some things that'll help them capture a little bit more of market share, but they'll never catch up. And the reason
Yeah.
that they won't is because in the time period when they were the dogs and they were the giants, they rested on their laurels, right? So this is literally a concept. This is something. I think this is a learning lesson for people outside of investments, outside of anything. When
Mhm.
you're the top dog, you have to continue to compete. You have to continue to compete with yourself and drive yourself to be innovative, drive yourself to continue growing and keep moving and keep going. Apple is the number one company, right? If they at some point decided, what if they just, I don't want to put out any more iPhones. We're done with
Right.
that. I put out all the iPhones I need to put out. I mean, we're number one. So that essentially is what Intel did. They reached a point and they stopped being innovative. And so then things started to evolve, right, in the gaming space and things like that. And so you needed better chips. Their sourcing was horrible as well. Fast forward to today. They're a far third because AMD is a far second from Nvidia. Nvidia is a $1 trillion company now. Market cap's $1 trillion. Intel, like that's what I'm saying. We read these articles and things, and it does look good. And shouts out to Yahoo for throwing them a little love. Intel probably paid them, but I'm gonna keep it honest. Like this isn't. If we're looking at from the like competitive fields, like competitively, it's not a competition.
Mhm.
AMD's doing a little better, right? They're like probably about 32, 33% below like the market share that Nvidia has. They're kind of competing. And they have some partnerships that they've made that are kind of going to push them a little bit. So okay, cool, but Intel, good job coming up with something in the past 25 years. Good job. But you're going to have to be a little bit more innovative. You're going to have to go find some talent, right? You need to get back into looking at your programmers. Go back to look at coding. Go back to like get some people, get grassroots. Get back to the heart of it. Find some people that are innovative and then bring some new ideas in if you really want to compete. Because NVIDIA is so far ahead. I mean, I like this, but it's not a competition.
So Rico, you bring up a good point as far as the innovation. And when you said that, so yesterday I had the opportunity or 2 days ago I had the opportunity to speak at one of the military bases on leadership development. And when you talk about innovation, I think that whether you're military, whether you're a business, whether you lead people, whatever the case is, what you just said is very relevant as far as remaining to be innovative and not, whether you're number one or whether you're number 10 on the block. Right. Just a constant, because the way the world is shifting and moving and how rapidly is moving, in order for you to remain relevant, you have to continue to remain to be innovative. Right. And so yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. The videos everywhere. They have the chip market on lock right now. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely.
And I want you to think about where they came from and where AMD came from. Right. To your point, Glenn, because they never stopped being innovative. Just because they were low men on the totem pole, they never stopped. There was a time Intel ran everything with chips. Everything. You didn't dream about everything. And so that just to your point, you never stop, right? You put the effort and you put the thought process into being innovative, competing against yourself, learning your market, learning your competition. What are they bringing out? Okay, how do I go get more talented coders and programmers? How do I go get people that understand business strategy? NVIDIA literally went and like swooped up Google people, went and swooped up Facebook people, right? They just went and kept grinding. And then now look at it.
Yeah.
And Billy Rowe on IG said IEEE standards are starting to drive tech companies to be less proprietary and more compatible. Shout out to B Row, first row. Check him out, Men's Circle, every other Tuesday.
Love it. Cool. That's good stuff. Appreciate y'all sharing the thoughts. So as you roll into the next article, the last piece of that was one of the big changes is Intel will be rolling out 5 new process nodes in a 4-year span, following the footsteps of its rival AMD. So, all right. So this last article, Rico mentioned innovation. We talked about being competitive, and so when you think about those two words, the name that comes to mind is Elon Musk, right? Elon Musk, and I know he's been he may have to start paying us. No,
I think we skipped a week.
he has been a consistent topic as far as his name. But the reason why I bring that up, as you guys can see, based off the article, it talks about Rivian brings Tesla another step closer to changing the charging standard. A couple weeks ago, we talked about how Ford and GM partner with Tesla, right? And then so now, I think it was this past Tuesday or Wednesday, Rivian, same thing, is now partner with Tesla as well. And there's somebody else, and we'll talk about it at the very end, who is on the table with also partnering with Tesla based on this article. But I picked this article for several reasons. I know from an investor standpoint, there's plenty of people who have Tesla stock. I know in our Facebook group, the Marathon group, Rico had posted that question. And but not only that, there are people who are interested in Tesla products. They're interested in investing, even if they're not currently investing. And so with Elon's name constantly in the news, I thought this particular article was essential for this particular conversation, because you have people who are like, hey, am I too late to the game as far as investing in Tesla, or did I not miss the boat? But regardless of from the stock portion, on the other side of how it affects our economy today, you have people who drive vehicles, right? The way the world is shifting when it comes to electronic vehicles, Elon's making a staple, or Tesla's making a staple in the world as far as, hey, you guys are going to be my or I will be the go-to person, right? I think they make up right now 60% of the fast charging network in the United States. That's more than half, right? And so, but Rivian, specifically with the article, Rivian Automotives, once they announced their partnership, their shares went up, 5.5%. Once they announced the news. And so, like I said, I thought this was pretty interesting, a pretty interesting article from an investment standpoint, and then also just what's going on in the direction of EV.
I'm gonna let Rico go first.
Yeah, I was about to say Rico.
Well, okay. Let me start with, in my monologue, let me start with this. Number one, these are the things that you get when Elon is focused. He's a very dangerous man. I said this, I think in like episode 1 or 2. You can go back and look at it. Yeah. But I told you, if you get Elon and he's focused, no one can compete with him. His brain focused thinks very differently. And it does things that you can't even comprehend. That's why he's Elon Musk with billions and billions of dollars. I said, if he can stay focused, get rid of Twitter. Twitter's crap. You don't need it. Just let somebody run it. Focus. Now he's back in his bag. He's completely focused. And this is the stuff that you're going to get. And it'll keep coming. There'll be chess move after chess move after chess move, stuff that you didn't even think about. The other day, they saw him sitting with Arnault, which is the #1 richest guy in the world. LVMH, right? Which is the owner of the luxury brand. So maybe you're going to see Tesla with Louis V in it. Maybe you're going to see, guys, I'm trying to tell you, the guy is, right? He went to F1 and he was talking to Bezos. He's the way his brain thinks. He not only understands relationships parts, but he has the technical side too, to back it up. That's a very dangerous combination. So that's that. The second thing, Rivian, kudos to you guys. Way to rebrand, way to do your thing. Market losses were crazy last year in there with them, but they didn't give up. They never gave up. They kept pushing. Kudos to you guys. Got the big plant that's out there in Fremont. I know they said they're hiring more people. Business is booming. So congrats to you guys on that in the partnership. And I also saw the actual acquisition that they had, right? I saw that. They ended up buying a Swedish company named Internio. And what it is it's a trip planning or a map service, basically, Swedish company. So that goes into Rivian. Well, how do they do this? Think about it. They're making money 2 ways. Remember, now they have the deal with Tesla, right? for the charging stations, you integrate that data into right with the mapping and say that you have to pay for the locations of all the charging stations that you already make money off of with Tesla. Now you're making money off of the maps.
Yep.
It just goes together. See, these are chess moves. And I'm willing to probably tell you, probably 95% sure Elon helped them out with like, hey, go, you should do this, and then you'll do that, and that'll bring you. And so this is what you get, man. I'm super happy for Rivian. Looks good. Overall layout is good. They waited strategically until their shares went up. They waited to announce that they purchased. All this stuff is just so strategic, but it just got Elon like written all over. It's like now he's everywhere. It's like, oh, I'm so happy. My Tesla stock is looking pretty, right? Man, I'm just like, Elon, thank you. Thank you for listening to me finally.
He watches Financial Friday for it.
He watches Financial Fridays. He hollered at your boy. Yeah, no.
These nuggets, Elon.
So I will say, I saw Rivian like a year ago, and I was like, I don't even know what this car is. I had to Google it. I'm gonna say it. You know, and there are a lot of there are a lot of EV companies that have come and fallen. I mean, there was the Chinese maker NIO, which was really big back in 2019, I believe. I mean, they made me good money because there was a lot of hype. But after I sold them, it went from $60 to 30 cents after COVID and all that, because they were funded by a billionaire, and realistically, he understood like, all right, I don't want to bleed anymore with this, because he couldn't do it. You know, he wasn't building those partnerships. And then there was the other company that was about to get that contract with USPS. I forgot what it was called.
Lucid.
What's that?
Lucid.
I think it was Lucid, but then there was another. Well, those were the two that were fighting, and there was like, oh yeah, they're gonna buy these. But then what happened was, USPS said, we'll give you the contract, but you have to deliver this many vehicles off the bat and this many every single month. And they was like, we can't do that. And they were like, well, we ain't gonna give you the deal. And so they moved on. And so we've seen kind of this like rise and fall of these EV companies because they tried to do it without Elon. You ain't gonna do it, bro. Let's just be 100 with it. Unfortunately, he built it too fast and too good to where you either get on the train and play smart, or it's just not gonna work. So, I mean, unfortunately, I'm an underdog guy, but I'm not a stupid guy. So I think it's smart move, just like Rico says, smart move, especially from the board of directors, to understand that they need that infrastructure that Elon has built, and probably listen to the chess move, like Rico said, to buy that map service that now almost guarantees that partnership for a long-standing amount of time, and not just with Elon, but with all these other cars that are eventually going to hop on board.
There it is. It's and you didn't mention GMC, you didn't mention Ford, right? So Rivian is now tied to their earnings as well, because why? They're using the stations, right? They're using the charging stations, and so these guys are going to have to get that map service as well. So these are all it's just very strategic work, man. I love that. I love chess moves. I love when people sit back and you make moves. This may sound really weird, but you even got to respect China. We don't like them because we're the United States, but guys, I want you to. They had 100-year plan. They had 100-year plan.
Yep.
Think about that. As Americans, we can't even make a 6-month plan. These guys had 100-year plan.
30-day plan.
And they're just executing like to precision, right? And so it's jacked up, and they're buying everything and calling note on people. So they default. There's African countries that they literally own now, which is crazy. But no, man, you got to respect anyone that takes the time to plan, put into preparation, and do what's necessary. And there we go.
And that's it. That's it too. I mean, with anyone who's watching or rewatching, that's part of it. right? Like coming up with a plan, like in any area of your life, what you're doing, whether it's the leadership, whether it's business, whether it's whatever you have your hands involved in, like how efficient and how important having a plan is, right? And then the execution of that plan, obviously. And and then even kind of going back to Elon, I think one of the things that he's mastered, like you mentioned, Rico, as far as the relationships and the tech side, but the ability to collaborate with individuals, right? And that's what it's about. That's one of the things that I appreciate in this particular season of my life is being the opportunity to collaborate with like-minded individuals and folks that share the same values and belief, to be able to come on even just this platform alone, right, and take things to the next level and give information back to the community where they may not have even heard of any of this, the information, but this platform bridges that gap. So
Thanks.
and then the last one on the table, regarding the last article, is Hyundai.
There, yep.
So Elon, again, going back to chess, the grandmaster.
Yep, that's how it is, man.
Wait. Who gave you the game? 2 or 3? Oh, okay. All right. I'm just saying, I'm not, I'm not Red Panda or anything, man. But I'm gonna start making people drop sevens or something in the chat if I made you money, because I'm literally called that play 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I said he just needs an Asian company. It's either Hyundai, Honda, right, or Toyota. That was the. Hey.
Yeah.
Where we at, man?
If Rico made you money, drop a 7 in the comments. Hey, so as we wrap up, everybody. So first of all, we appreciate you guys for joining us on this Friday. I'm gonna try and fix this whole Facebook user thing. I don't know why all of a sudden it's doing that. So for those of you who join us regularly, but if we can't fix it, drop your name in there so we can make sure we say thank you, specifically to you, because we want to make sure we thank you. For those on IG, Billy, I saw you tapped in, bro. I appreciate you. Elizabeth, the cruise coach, David, Bentique, we appreciate you. But so we do Financial Fridays every Friday at 3 p.m. That's where we talk about what's going on in the market. We have Money Mondays, where myself, Glenn, and Rico, we talk specifically about how we are helping our clients. Okay, that's a little bit more kind of what we're doing, when it comes to financial strategies, trust building, business entity help, all those things. So we talk all about that on Monday. Thursdays, Rico does his Taylor Talk with Carlton Bryant. They get a little unsheathed, the gloves come off, they talk about everything and anything. And then every other Wednesday, myself and the real estate guru from Las Vegas, Aaron Botley, we have The Real Deal, where we talk about finance plus real estate and how to really take advantage of both those worlds. And then obviously, me and my man G have the L3 Perspective podcast. We drop new episodes every single Tuesday. Life, love, and leadership. Okay. And how those really affect kind of our everyday lives. All right. So for the rest of y'all, have a good weekend. We appreciate you. And gentlemen, last words.
I'll say this. It's
I don't have anything.
We're starting to fill up the calendar. We're going to give folks Sunday off, but I'll just say this, like everything that we have our hands involved in, one of the overall goals is simply just to provide value. That's it. And so I appreciate you guys rocking with us, tuning in. Thank you for being consistent, joining us. Thank you guys for putting your comments in the chat as well. And we will see you guys soon.
Yep. All right, y'all. Have a good weekend. Peace.